So it's 2009. You've just watched this dude called the Nostalgia Critic tearing apart that movie you used to love as a child. After repairing the fragile fragments of your heart he destroyed because now you realise you can only enjoy that movie ironically, you sit back and out of the corner of your eye you spot your dad's old camcorder over on the table. Huh, you think, I can do that? I mean, literally, that's what I thought. And I set about trying to make my own video review series. But what could I cover? Can't do nostalgic movies, that's taken. Can't do blockbusters, horror movies, video games. Reviewer dibs is totally a thing that exists, and only one person can ever review one thing. So what's my gimmick? Ah yes, sequels, I'll do that. Now what about a name? People love alliteration, shameful sequels it is. Who cares if it forms a sketchy acronym? Let's get on with making some reviews. And you know what? This Nostalgia Critic guy seems to have a pretty good thing going. If I just do exactly what he's doing, except only with sequels instead of nostalgic movies, then I'll gain the love and admiration of people from all over the world who want the exact same thing regurgitated over and over and over and over. Yes, the internet in 2009 was a strange place. People were quite happy to have the same concept, idea and humours repeated ad infinitum, so long as there was one tiny tweak which made it different enough. In fact, you didn't even really have to change anything, people just wanted more of it, like a drug addict who couldn't wait to get his next fix. Whether it be pure cocaine or ground up polo mints mixed with asbestos, it didn't matter. And by the way, I'm the asbestos in this metaphor. Because despite the gimmicks and the nuances, all angry reviewers are basically the same. At least a good solid chunk of them, especially those ones who were born off the back of the Nostalgia Critic, because it's such a relatable thing. Think about MST3K, possibly the founder of this type of film criticism. You're sitting there making fun of movies with your friends, not really trying to say anything other than make people laugh. Except in this case, you're not with friends, you're performing to strangers stretched across the webosphere who share a similar interest, or hatred, for the same thing as you. Angry reviewing is the easiest form of criticism. If you sat there and laughed at something bizarre in a movie, then congratulations, you're qualified to be an angry reviewer. All you need to do now is figure out a way to write that thought into a joke, film it and throw it together in Windows Movie Maker, and you're well on your way to being a critic. And if you're not sure about where to start, then let me show you. I may not be the Nostalgia Critic, but he and I once reviewed a movie together and shared the stage, and yeah, please don't hold that against me. First of all, you need to decide what you're going to review. For the sake of this video, let's say you want to review movies. Fine, you're in with a good crowd there. Next, you need your target, and you need to make sure it's something popular or something super niche. They're the ones that'll get you the clicks. For the sake of an easy target, let's go for the 2006 cringe fest that is The Wicker Man starring Nicolas Cage. It's got everything you need to fill your angry review with delicious content. Bad acting, a bad story, funny set pieces, meme-worthy insanity, and Nicolas Cage. The episode will practically write itself. So let's start. First, watch the movie and make some notes about jokes and the timestamps. That'll make things a lot easier during the edit later. Then you may want to watch the movie a second time if this is your first watch, just in case you miss anything, but one watch is enough to get the job done. It doesn't matter if you miss out any key information because, sod it, it's just a comedic review after all. Some angry reviewers even skip the watching the movie and making notes part altogether and go straight to the script writing stage, writing their review as they watch. This may work for you, but not for me, because you can still miss bits of setup as you're not necessarily familiar with where they're going yet. But again, accuracy doesn't matter when it's a comedic review. If you want quality, accuracy and seriousness, go watch Siskel and Ebert or something. If you're going to appear on camera, and in 2009 that is a must in high quality super crisp 480p 4:3 aspect ratio, then make sure you look a little bit quirky. Don't tie your tie properly, wear a suit. Think about your background. Do you want to sit in front of a plain white wall or perhaps a mahogany bookcase? Because remember, bookcases make it look like you know what you're talking about. When that's done, it's time to start producing your review. First up, you need some kind of catchphrase.
Hello and welcome to Bad Movie Beatdown.
Hello.
I'm a British person.
Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remember it so you don't have to.
Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn.
You know, the sort of crap you're going to get printed on a bunch of t-shirts. It's all about the merchandising, baby. And it's at this point you're going to have two options. Option one is the old school option. Simply introduce the movie you're about to review. Talk about how it made you feel as a kid, or how it went viral, or how your mum watched it and she shat herself. You know, something funny like that. Option 2 is a little newer and probably favoured by the creator more so than the viewers, but screw it, it's my show, I'll do whatever the hell I want. You want to tell your epic space adventure arc over 10 months with a build-up to an epic space battle, but you only have access to 2 actors, one being your brother who can only be there on Tuesday afternoons to film, but damn it, you're not going to let that get in the way of you telling your space epic. Yeah, storylines in reviews aren't my thing. A number of creators have gone down this route with varying degrees of success, but as far as I'm concerned, people have tuned in to see you tear a comic apart. Skip. But then again, people love this stuff to the point where they're happy to fully fund a movie over it, so what the hell do I know? This is purely down to personal preference. Screw it. If you want to cover your bedroom in tinfoil and pretend it's the control room to a spaceship, then go nuts. Just make sure the review isn't an afterthought and the storyline has at least some relevance to what you're reviewing. So probably best not to include that spaceship scene for the Wicker Man review, Once you've got through your intro/storyline, it's time to start your actual review, which will usually begin with you showing a clip of the movie whilst narrating what we're actually seeing. Essentially, you need to cram the entire first act of the movie into about 2 minutes, while also throwing in jokes to keep people interested. So, we've got our intro sorted, we've told our viewers who's in the movie, who they're playing and what's going on. Now it's time to start the angry review formula. And it goes a little something like this. Clip, joke, voiceover on top of footage to further the movie's plot, clip, joke. And then you repeat, basically until the movie's over. You show a clip, make a snarky comment, pause for laughter, and then you need to explain a little about what's actually happening so the next clip and snarky comment can make sense. And that's it. You may want to break up some of that actual review with some more story, but I don't recommend it because people are going to skip the sketches and the story. They don't really care. But because people on the internet have a very short attention span and you only have 10 to 20 minutes to talk about a 2-hour movie and try to be funny and wrap up whatever sketches or storyline you might have going on, you have to condense things so much that you might have to leave some things out. Whether that's certain story aspects, character development, or even an entire subplot. And I'm talking about the movie here, not your own subplot. And this brings me on to my next point. The most important part of angry reviewing. You can ignore all the other points I've mentioned and do your own thing if you like, so long as you stick completely and unequivocally to this one. Okay? Are you listening? Context doesn't matter. That's right. When it comes to angrily reviewing movies, context is irrelevant. Okay, I'm not saying this applies to all angry reviewers, but in this case, it definitely does. Especially if context gets in the way of telling a sweet joke, know what I'm saying? For example, let's take this Nostalgia Critic review of Last Action Hero. We all know that Last Action Hero is a satire, and because it's a satire, it's naturally going to satirise the action movie genre. The rogue cop, the angry police chief, the over-the-top action, and yet, right here, in this Nostalgia Critic review, they're taken at face value. Every single point that is made in the review is taken completely out of context in the hope for a laugh. At least, I hope that was the case. I refuse to believe that Doug Walker, the man who made this, is unable to detect or understand satire. But he didn't seem to get that Deadpool 2 was self-aware either, so... And if you saw the recent review, can we even call it a review at all, of The Wall, where he ignores / doesn't understand obvious allegories and subtext and metaphors, I genuinely think he just doesn't care. Because if you ignore context, you can literally turn any movie, into angry review fodder. For example, let's take this scene in The Dark Knight. A very good scene, I'm sure you'll agree, which introduces to us the sort of character the Joker is. He's manipulative, he knows what he wants and how to get it, and despite how he looks and how impulsive he appears to be, he has everything meticulously planned. But with angry reviewing, you have to remember that context means nothing. How did he get in unnoticed? Aren't they supposed to be Gotham's best criminals?
I'm gonna make this pencil disappear.
Is the Joker physically strong? I mean, stronger than the presumably strong guy he sent over to take him down? Because... long pause?
The television's so-called plan Batman has...
Where's the webcam there? How is he seeing all of this? And why is he looking straight into the lens? See how easy that is? If you cherry-pick your moments, then you can make anything seem bad. CinemaSins are the kings of doing this, to the point where they're often seen as the antithesis of movie reviews. In their defense, they don't claim to be intelligent film criticism, which is lucky because they're anything but. But what they are is a comedy channel which uses movies as their source. They shouldn't be taken seriously. They shouldn't be categorised with your Chris Stuckmans or your Jeremy Jahns. They're purely there for comedy, because why would you even try when this is one of their regular criticisms in a movie?
Scene does not include lap dance.
Another key point in angry reviewing is this.
Put that cookie down!
A reference to something else apparently counts as a joke. For example, let's say we're reviewing B-movie. It's a movie, it's about bees. So in angry reviewing, it would be practically illegal if I didn't include...
Not the bees!
Or even a reference to another Channel Awesome reviewer, which would be completely lost on anybody watching the video who wasn't familiar with that creator's work.
Bees, my god.
The next rule is exaggeration. Whatever emotion you're feeling when watching a movie, just make sure you show that emotion, but to the extreme. It's not that bad. Nothing is that bad. You wouldn't even react like that if a tsunami was destined to meet you head on in the next 10 seconds. But if you're reviewing a movie, then, well, you best be ready to act like this thing is the biggest part of your life and how it pans out will affect you in the most profound of ways. Got something intelligent to say? Well, forget it. There's no time for thought-provoking, well-crafted film criticism here. The point is, make sure actual criticism isn't getting in the way of how many times you can say, this doesn't make sense. And make sure you still have the opportunity to nitpick something which really isn't all that relevant. And you should definitely approach reviewing a movie such as Alien 3 in the same way as you'd review Alvin and the Chipmunks Chipwrecked. Because everyone knows that children's movies feature characters with motivations, beliefs and reactions which mimic real life. Because that's all we're doing, comparing what a character would do to what a person would do in real life. What would I do if I were chipwrecked on an island? Would I sing about it? No, I wouldn't. Therefore, this movie is bad and you should feel bad for liking it. Although, to be fair, the last part is optional. You don't have to try and make your audience feel bad for liking a certain movie, but the option is always there. Shaming people for enjoying something that you don't is a general trend across the internet anyway, so why not just go ahead and throw that in there if you feel like it? I don't mind. And as well as making your audience feel stupid, you can go right ahead and attack the filmmakers too. After all, these people are losers and you're the winner. You know more about what goes into making a movie than they do, and you should let them know exactly how wrong they have it. But then remember, when you have the opportunity to prove that you're the best filmmaker in the history of the world, make sure you don't use all of your talent, or any of it in fact, to prove to the world that really, you're just a humble guy. Don't worry, there'll be time later down the line to prove how much of a nice guy you really are. Got all that? Good. Now that you've reached the end of your movie, make sure to edit together a bunch of random cool-looking shots while you have a voiceover of your actual opinion of the movie. Just make sure to keep that part brief because we don't want people thinking this is some sort of serious review show. And to doubly make sure that doesn't happen, end the episode on either a little bit more story, a wacky unrelated sketch, or a conclusion to a running joke you've had already outstay its welcome throughout the episode. You can even throw in a second part to that catchphrase you said at the start.
I'm Matthew Buck, licensed to beat down bad movies everywhere.
Or just repeat the catchphrase altogether. People will absolutely love it.
I'm the Nostalgia Critic, I remember it so you don't have to.
And there it is, everything you need to ensure that you produce a quality angry review. Just make sure you keep any intelligent film criticism away. You don't want people thinking you're anything other than a shrieking fart machine, do you? So, what are you waiting for? Get cracking. Choose that gimmick, create that catchphrase, and select a target. Wait, what? Angry reviewing has moved on? What do you mean most people don't do it anymore? Evolved how? When? Why did nobody tell... Okay, fine. Next time, let's take a look at how angry reviews have changed.